And there can often be a lot of shame associated with that behavior, but there's a feeling I can't not do it. I have to. And it feels like pushing the other. When you hear it standing back, it's obvious that it's pushing the other person away. But when you're in it, the primary core driver is to reconnect because you're wanting the other person to come forward. I'm hurting, come and get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you start to learn about all of these things, it feels like there's never an end to the work that could be done. And I hear this
Mm.
as a wife or a parent, and I think of, oh my goodness, how do you make sure I'm just going to digress for a moment because instantly as
Mm.
I learn about these things and how they take shape, then I think as a parent, how do you help support your children in secure attachment? And some of that comes through with things you've described, but I think I need to hear it from you anyway.
I love that question. Yeah, and it's something I've always got on my mind as well with being a mom too. I've got the moment they're 13 and 14,
Hmm.
girl and a boy. It's the principle of enough. I think that there's research about 50%. If they reach out for you, 50% of the time, you're there, you're attuned, you get down to their level. What's happened, sweetheart? Because as a parent, there's always going to be times where you can't just drop everything because they need you for a moment or they're struggling to cut their food. So there's a healthy amount of letting them struggle and letting them have their own experiences and letting them care for themselves if they're hurt. There's an element of that. But then as a parent, you might recognize, as I say, when you're attuned to your child, you know when they're okay to take care of themselves, but you also know when it's escalated to a point where they need some help. They need an adult to come in and support them. It's about that they have enough of that adult support, enough of the time that they feel secure in themselves that I'm worthy of someone attending to me, that somebody from somewhere, parent, teacher, someone who cares about them steps forward when they're in distress. And then when they're in real distress, that there's someone there for them and someone really holding space.
Yeah, that's simple and helpful to say because I think that's the worry of every parent is you cannot always drop everything. Plus, how
No.
someone else perceives a situation is going to be two people can be in the same situation and perceive it completely differently, right? For one
Yeah.
person, it might be the worst
Yeah.
thing, and for one person, it might be the best thing. And so there's a lot of nuance there. But if we can just cut it down the middle and say, if at least 50% of the time they feel like needs are really being met, that they're being given attention to, that you're being attuned to them, then you're in the right direction, which is just lovely.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not about the things, it's really about the emotional attunement. It's like that moment where you can see your child sometimes from the end of the garden and one child's asked them to do something and you just see a look on their face and you know exactly what they're thinking. That's attunement and you just know when they need you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
intuition to an extent. Would you
Mm.
say when you talk about taking 2 years to form secure attachments as adult, I don't know if this is just universally or adults or everyone, mm, would you say that the same principle that you just shared around children applies in, for example, relationships? Or what are some of the
Mm.
steps to form secure attachments in relationship?
Mm. Mm.